Hi there, economists. So today's video is looking at government intervention with a specific focus on what the governments can do to in relation to positive externalities and merit goods. So this accompanies the PowerPoint that I've put on to show my homework. So there are two main methods that the governments can use with regards to positive externalities and trying to encourage more people to consume and produce merit goods. The two methods tend to be regulation and subsidies. So we're going to start off with regulation. So when we're talking about regulation, we're really talking about the government imposing rules, imposing controls and certain constraints. So it's really kind of forcing people's hands as to what they need to do. So in regards to merit goods, these are often underproduced, underconsumed. So the government would put into place regulation to try to force people to consume or produce these goods that yield these positive externalities. So typical examples might be wearing seatbelts. So it is the law in the UK to wear a seatbelt. In most circumstances, are a few exceptions, such as taxi drivers, but for the majority of us, the law says that we need to be wearing seatbelts. Thereby, if there's an accident, it keeps us more secure than if we're not wearing seatbelts. Or wearing crash helmets if you drive a motorcycle or motorbike. Most recently as well, there's been lots of new bills that have been going on with regards to housing. And if you're a housing builder and you're building a large kind of plot of land, the regulation is that a certain amount of houses on new builds need to be what we call affordable houses. So a certain percentage, so let's say X% of new builds need to be what the government calls affordable housing. And that could be on their Help to Buy scheme, social housing, etc. So these are regulations. The government forces us to do these, and it's to try to keep us safe, to try to make sure that we are consuming more of those merit goods, such as seatbelts, crash helmets, and that we're enforcing producers to consider the affordability of housing. Alternatively, rather than regulating the market, the government can look at using controls within the market mechanism itself, such as subsidies. So we touched on subsidies when we looked at our supply and demand unit, but really when we're talking about subsidies, this is a sum of money that the government offers to producers to lower their costs. So the Gov, I'm going to shorten it there, offers this sum of money, the subsidy, to producers. So this is money that goes to the producers to reduce the cost of production. So if you take your mind back to when we were looking at our market failure diagrams, and we looked at the example of factories or of research businesses, I should say. We said that actually there's not enough research being produced, being undertaken. So if I recreate this diagram here for you, we have got our costs and benefits. Whoopsies. So costs and benefits here. And we've got the quantity. So we're going to look at this in regards to the quantity of research that's been undertaken. So we have got the demand curve, which is our marginal social benefit and marginal private benefit. And we said that the firm that's undertaken the research considers the marginal private cost of that research, and that could be here. So there's Q1 amount of research that's undertaken. However, for society to be better off, the socially optimum equilibrium is here, our marginal social costs, which are lower than the marginal private costs. Because remember, this is a negative external cost, which is an external benefit. So the quantity of research the company should be undertaking is Q2, but it's actually Q1. So what the government can do is it can provide a subsidy to these firms that are undertaking the research as a way of lowering the cost, in this case not of production, but lowering the cost to do that research. So this, in a sense, if we consider these as our supply curves, shifts the supply to the right. It is making it cheaper to produce, cheaper to undertake that research. Therefore, the firm is able to do more of it. So the price of that research, in a sense, has fallen. So we consider our marginal social costs, the marginal private cost, take away the subsidy that's been given to us. So this now makes it cheaper. As a result, more research is undertaken and we are reaching the socially optimum equilibrium. So the amount for this to happen, I need to extend this line up, the amount of the subsidy needs to be from point A, which is the socially optimum equilibrium, up to point B. So this marginal external cost here, the negative marginal external cost, the marginal external benefit, needs to be the value of the subsidy. So the subsidy for this to work needs to be the same as the externality. So in this case, the subsidy needs to be the difference between A and B, so that the firm internalises that externality. It's now cheaper for them to produce because they've been given this money to the government, by the government, so they are able to undertake more research. So rather than producing at the free market equilibrium, we're producing at the socially optimum equilibrium. Okay, right, the next video, part 2, is going to look at government intervention with regards to negative externalities and demerit goods.